From heartless taunts
saying to pull the trigger to kill your son, masturbates to memory,
to having a 1v1 with the judge.
In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this courtroom.
Here are some of the most insane courtroom moments of all time. First up, Ricky Hand, sentenced to 40 years for armed robbery. But somehow his attorney took it worse than he did.
Did you just give me 40 years, sir? Yes. You just gave me 40 years. Well, guess what? Sir, don't say something.
Nothing says I'm innocent like assaulting your own lawyer, with a handful of fresh regret. And yet, he still thought the real crime was his attorney's performance. Next up, Ryan Stone, who took going for a drive to a whole new level with a 60-mile car chase, plus a side of kidnapping and carjacking. Now he's looking at a 160-year vacation with a chance at freedom in just 75 short years.
My lawyer told me I made the news in the UK and Australia. If you type in Grand Theft Auto on YouTube, my comes up first.
Ah yes, the pinnacle of achievement. Forget degrees or Nobel Prizes, this guy made global headlines for stealing a Honda, truly a legacy to be proud of. Next up, Mason Bryant, 22 years behind bars for robbery, kidnapping, and weapons charges. But wait, there's more. He tacked on an extra 6 years for throwing a tantrum.
The court determines that you have or will have the ability to pay restitution.
Brilliant strategy, shouting at the judge like that'll shave time off the sentence. Congratulations to him on another 6-year bonus. Next up, Leonid Grazer, an 18-year-old who took family drama to a new level. After brutally murdering his sister, he swapped prison for a lifetime of psychiatric treatment, only to try and dodge it. That was never going to end well for him. A for effort, F for execution. If only he had put that much creativity into staying out of jail in the first place. Next up, Curtis Wayne Travis, a home invasion, a stolen car, and a fatal hit and run all in one night. That earned him life without parole, but he didn't take it well.
The family over there, they're happy. That's not what your brother or whoever he was, he didn't want me to like.
Yeah, sure. If there's one way to earn sympathy, it's by throwing a tantrum at the people who already despise you. Flawless strategy. Next up, Ronnie O'Neill III, 3 life sentences plus 90 extra years. But it's what he did in court that left everyone speechless.
Fabricating! Fictitious government you ever seen. By the time it's all said and done, you will see.
Ah yes, the classic strategy, yelling your way out of an argument, because nothing says credible defense like an opening statement that sounds like a street brawl. Next up, Rakeem Michner was convicted in 2016 on 2 counts of sexual battery through force and was designated a sexual predator. His outburst in a 2014 pre-trial hearing got him dragged out of court, setting the tone for what came next. Bold move, demanding everyone leave like he owns the place. Too bad the only one getting escorted out was him, with a little extra force. Next up is Brock Hunter McKinney, facing charges for domestic violence and drug possession with a $50,000 bond. But his courtroom appearance, let's just say it was far from ordinary.
We're out of here, man. This is for eight, man. I don't give a for real, I don't give a I'm not hold a second, so
And here we have the classic tough guy exit. Talk big, drop some profanity, and strut away, straight into a longer sentence. A true masterpiece of self-destruction. Next up, Percy Phillips, linked to a 1993 murder that sent an innocent man to prison. His 2022 trial ended in a mistrial, with no retrial in sight. But back in 2009, his courtroom meltdown was something else. Bold strategy, hurling slurs only to be tasered and put down. A shockingly bad decision. Next up, Todd Winkler, convicted of murdering his wife and sentenced to 26 years to life. But his trial? Let's just say his behavior had the courtroom pausing for a moment.
You are not samurai! Stop. You do not speak truth! You only want to destroy! You have no Bushido! You have no Bushido! Stop.
Nothing like a dramatic self-concussion to try and sell your point. Too bad the only thing he destroyed was his last shred of dignity. Next up, Diana Lovejoy. Once a fitness instructor, now serving 26 years to life for a murder-for-hire plot gone wrong. But her trial was nothing short of a drama.
McDavid, guilty of the crime of conspiracy to commit murder.
Alright, we're gonna need to take a break.
Ah yes, the classic hit the floor, drop the sentence maneuver. Spoiler, it never works. Next up, Dale Roy Greenman, arrested for stealing cigarettes in a Gatorade, but his real crime? Losing his cool in court when the judge brought up his past. And trust me, it was a meltdown worth watching.
Case today, I am gonna appoint the public defender for you.
That's horse. You do whatever the you want.
Excuse me?
My name is Mr. Greenman.
I'm the federal witness of the United States federal government. I demand some respect, you. Let's get a jail crowd along, y'all.
He did not do himself a favor, there did he? Should have just gone through his mild punishment, but he had to ask for more serving of justice. Next up, Mitchell Blair, the so-called freezer mom, was sentenced to life without parole for the brutal murders of her 2 children. But in court, she didn't just defend her actions, she completely lost it.
You! Everybody want to know? Yes, I did kill her!
In a lightning bolt.
When all else fails, go out swinging with a profanity-laced tirade. Bold move for someone already drowning in heavy charges. Next up, Antonio Rosales, charged with child rape, kidnapping, and attempted murder, faced trial in Florida. But as the prosecutor made their case, tensions in the courtroom erupted. When the law isn't on your side, just start wrecking office equipment. Nothing screams innocent like a full-scale courtroom meltdown. Our next guy, Nelson Walker, took courtroom hearings to a whole new level, showing up to court in the very Miami Dolphins jersey he stole.
All right, Nelson Walker. Yes, ma'am. There you are. All right, you're charged with stealing a Dolphin jersey?
Ah, yes. Nothing says innocent like rocking the stolen goods in front of the judge. Bold move. Let's see how that works out. Next up, Tracy Hunter, once a Hamilton County judge, now a convicted felon. But when it was time to trade the bench for a jail cell, she didn't go quietly. It's pathetic how she's dragged out like a deflated balloon, and her family turns the courtroom into a full-blown circus. Gotta say that it was justice served with a side of chaos. Next up, Nicholas Kyle Garrison thought 6 months behind bars for drug possession was too much, so he made a run for it right from the courtroom. And unexpectedly, he actually made it out. Dude took off like the Flash, while the officer went full stuntman over the railing. It's hilarious how our runner actually got away. For now. Next up, Daniel Nicholson, facing charges for attempting to escape custody and injuring officers, was sentenced to at least 12 months in prison. But before that, he tried to make a break for it right in the middle of the courtroom. Thought he was executing the perfect jailbreak, right up until he met the final boss in uniform. One swift takedown later, and all that effort just bought him extra bruises and charges. Next up, Dale Williams Sr. got 23 years to life for murdering Elizabeth Pledger Stewart, but before he could leave the courtroom, her sons lunged at him. Courtroom justice got an upgrade. Fists first, questions later. Their mom's killer learned the hard way that some verdicts come with a beating before the sentencing. Next up, Darrell Brooks, convicted of 6 counts of first-degree intentional homicide for the Waukesha parade attack, turned the courtroom into chaos. What happened next forced an emergency break.
From 2003, criminal trespass to dwelling from 2006.
Right, I need to take a break. This man right now is having a stare down with me. It's very disrespectful. He pounded his fist. Frankly, it makes me scared. And we're taking a break.
When your courtroom strategy involves an intimidation contest with the judge, you know you've already lost. Bonus points for making her call a timeout just to reset the sheer absurdity of it all. Next up, Christopher Teal, charged with a 2018 sexual assault, remained in custody on a $1 million bond. However, in court, tensions reached a breaking point. Nothing says graceful acceptance like a smug grin followed by an attorney slap. Too bad all he earned was a front row seat to a courtroom security dogpile. Next up, Joseph Zeeler, sentenced to death for a brutal double murder, faced his final courtroom moments. But just before the verdict was sealed, he made one last violent move.
Alright. I ain't doing nothing. Relax. I'm sorry. Are you okay? I'm fine. Relax.
That attorney leaned in expecting a whisper, not a full-force elbow and an instant nose realignment. Bet he's updating his resume and his dental records at the same time. Next up, Taylor Schabusiness, facing charges of murder and dismemberment, sat through a routine pre-trial hearing until the judge's decision set her off.
Stop it. Rachel, call.
Her attorney signed up for a defense case, not a wrestling match. It's a good thing the officer had a one-person takedown policy. Next up, Melissa Hardwick, sentenced to 10 days for contempt, sat fuming in the courtroom until she decided to take matters into her own hands. What happened next sent the room into chaos.
Oh no.
Launching yourself at the judge? Bold move. Unfortunately, courtroom gymnastics don't come with a reduced sentence, just extra charges. Next up, Damon Kemp, sentenced to life for the double murder of his roommates, entered the courtroom restrained in a wheelchair. But what he did stunned everyone.
Guy! Mr. Kemp? Guy!
Damon Kemp. My name is Judge Orfinger. I'm going to conduct your first appearance.
God!
I've reviewed your arrest warrant.
Is?
Whether there's probable cause.
Rolling into court like it's a haunted house attraction, screaming for divine intervention. Bold strategy. Too bad that funny faces don't work as a legal defense.